So hello and welcome back again to the GorillaBiker. Today we're going to be doing a first ride review on a 2018 Triumph Explorer XCX on loan from Freeman Motorcycles in Clonmel. If you want this bike, again I believe there's a lot of interest in it, so you better get onto them fast. But this thing is really nice. I've obviously, as always, spent a bit of time with it already, and yeah, I really like it. So without further ado, let's go over some of the things that are on this bike that will make a difference to the review, and then we're just going to jump straight into it. If you have not been here before for my reviews, what we're going to talk about is the ergonomics of the bike. That includes the controls, the feel of the wind, everything, the power and the torque, the handling and braking in relation to that, because obviously they go hand in hand together, the aesthetics of the bike, in my opinion on the aesthetics of the bike, extras, you know, stuff like that, and practicality, cost, you know, the relative stuff. Then we're just going to talk about who this bike is for and what I think of it and would I buy it. So if you want to hear all of that, stay tuned. So, just to kick it off, the stuff that's non-standard, these have a set of Bridgestone Battlax Adventure X41Fs on them. I've no idea are they good, you know, from other people's reviews. My experience of them so far has been quite good. It also has an Arrow exhaust on it. I don't know, can you see that in there? Really good so far. And it also has a full set of Triumph metal luggage. Obviously there's plastic on them too, but you know what I mean, there's also metal on them. Oh, they are. These are the Triumph heated seats, so these are also fancy and extra, maybe. I'm not sure, actually, do they come stock? Apologies, but all I know is this bike is really nice so far. So yeah, that's kind of it for the beginnings. So ergonomics on this bike. So far I really am enjoying it. But let's just go through a couple of things before we get out on the road for ergonomics. I'm not gonna lie, it's more comfortable than I was thinking, and not that I'm disappointed about it, but I was really hoping it wouldn't be as comfortable because I didn't want one of these. So to begin, the wet weight of this bike is around about 275 odd kilos, okay? It is not a light bike, and that's something that we just need to bear in mind. With these boxes on, it's probably closer to 280. That's just something to keep in mind. Seat height ranges by about 30 mil. It's like 820 to 850, say, or 863, I think is the max. But it is adjustable. You can get low seat height, high seat height options. There's also an LCX, which is the lower one, which is actually slightly lighter than this one, and obviously also lower to the ground itself. What we have up here then in the pilot's area is a really nice ergonomic setup. Nice big wide handlebar gives you lots and lots of leverage when you're turning the bike, which you do need, but we'll get into that when we're on the road. Other than that, the switches, the positions of the switches, everything else is really nice. It's not too busy. If I was to compare this to the Africa Twin, I do prefer this setup. It's not nearly as busy. The screens and the setup on the screens, yes, it's not TFT, but I actually quite like the digital display. It looks nice. Some people will probably call this dated for a 2018, but we'll get to that in aesthetics. But all of the actual switches, so to switch between this one here, to see these, you just go up and down here, like that. And then there's a little trigger back here to actually enter the menu. So say if we want to move the screen, you go up, hit your trigger menu, and up it comes. It's actually magic. I'm not gonna lie, I actually quite like that. And then to go out of that selection, you hit the information button again, and then you're able to just scroll up and down. Oh, that was the lights. You're able to scroll up and down through those bits again. So really nice setup visually, really nice setup from a comfort perspective. These Triumph Bark Busters are really nice as well. Keep all the wind off my paws. The seat is a masterpiece. It is so plush. This backrest here is actually really nice. The foot pegs actually surprised me when I first sat onto the bike, because I went to put my feet back here somewhere because I expected to be back here, and they're here, and they're just so comfortable. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm I prefer a lighter bike. I would really like this from an ergonomic perspective. One thing that does kind of damage it is for a taller rider, and I should have mentioned I am 6'7" or 200 centimeters tall-ish, and I weigh around about 20 stone or like 126 kilos at the moment. Had a good week, got some kiloage down. But that's important for these ergonomics. So I'll try show you me sitting on the bike as well in a minute. But yeah, that's important for these bits, because what I'm about to say is important if you're not tall. If you're short, this probably won't bother you. Not that less than 6'7" is short. But this screen, I have it currently in the lowest setting. That is the only place it works for me. The taller setting is really, really loud, and I didn't like it at all, which is a pity. But these little wind deflectors here, these actually work really well. I was moving my hands around trying them. And generally, I will say this before we get out on the road and just show you a few bits and pieces. It is an incredibly comfortable bike. Really, really, really impressed. Why do I like all bikes so much? But yeah, it's very comfortable. Let's talk more about it on the road. So let's talk about ergonomics when we're actually on the road. And I have to say, the seating position on this bike is honestly kind of, I don't want to say exceptional, because I don't think it's an exception anymore, but it is. Oh, that camera's quite low. I don't know, do I trust that there? But anyway, I'm not going to say exceptional. I'm going to say it is incredibly comfortable for a big person like myself. Now, after talking through what I talked through off the bike, you know, the bars and everything else, it is a comfortable bike. Okay, there's just a couple of things I want to hit upon while we're on the road. This is, like I said, a very heavy motorcycle. It is. There's no getting around that. There's no pretending the Triumph have created, you know, something amazing and never before done, that it's, you know, it's a big bike that isn't heavy. It is heavy. And I mean, you absolutely do know it's heavy. The thing about it is, it's not too heavy. Like, at no point have I been riding this, once we're moving, have I been riding this and thought to myself, this is, I can't do this, you know what I mean? It's actually very, very, very manageable when you're out moving along on the road, and it's like that all the way through the gears. Now, moving the bike stationary, I don't often advise people not to get bikes, but if you're a beginner-ish rider, if you're not confident moving around a bike, I would strongly advise you to steer clear from one of these, because this thing is heavy, and I'm a big guy to move around a bike. I'm not going to say I'm super strong or anything. I'm not, but I'm relatively strong. And this is a bike that you really want to be comfortable moving a bike around for. But that's all I'll say is, for what it's worth, my advice is, I would not say this is a bike for a smaller statured beginner, because I do think you'll drop it parked one day, and that would make you very, very sad. But it is just so smooth over bumps, and it's such a nice plush place to sit. I'm blown away, to be honest, by how well this bike fits me. And yeah, we'll talk about it at the end, who this bike is for. But I mean, when you compare this to the Africa Twin, which one would I get? I thought it was clear cut. I thought I wanted the lighter bike. I don't know, because this is really, really, really nice. And like, so is, oh, I need to move that up. So is the Twin. Obviously the Twin is fantastic, and if you watched my review on the Africa Twin in Freeman as well, I'm trying not to drop this too much because I don't want to smack the camera off the ground. The thing about this bike is, it does definitely fit me a bit better. Now, as we park here, actually, this is a good time to show you. Like, this bike feels fine between my legs, but if I let this over to there, man, that gets heavy. That gets really heavy really quick. Like, you can tell, we'll talk about it steering, you can tell it's a big bike, but it is super comfortable. So, big thumbs up for me for Triumph. I really like this bike. Let's talk about the power. This bike has 137 brake horsepower at 9,300 RPM and 123 Newton meters at 6,200 RPM, which makes it a torquey beast. Like, it's really nice. But yeah, let's get the camera and talk about it. So to put that into perspective, this thing it's a triple. It's a 1200cc triple, just probably important. And the power comes on, like the torque is phenomenal. This thing is, it's a beast. Like to say that this is 137 brake horsepower and it weighs 280 kilos, and that horsepower is all the way up at 9,300 RPM, that's class. I mean, I would say madness, but it's class. But the torque is where this really comes alive. So this bike is also a shaft-driven motorcycle. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. It's a shaft-driven motorcycle. So if you've never ridden a shaft drive before, just be aware that you can get like a little kick out of the shaft. Sounds terrible, but it's a lovely power. It's so smooth. That triple is chef's kiss. It sounds fantastic. I really like it. I need to stop liking Triumph so much because they're class. I already had bikes I liked, and now I've just added like most Triumphs to the list because they're so nice. They're so nice to ride, which is a problem. It's a problem. And obviously it's a 6-speed, no quick shift up and down or anything like that. It's a 6-speed manual. You got to use the clutch. It's just, it sounds lovely. And this is something I'm noticing about every Triumph I come across, is how good they sound. This certainly doesn't sound quite as good as the Street Triple I rode recently from Freeman, but you can still tell that, you know, Triumph did their work with the fancy work with the airbox to give it that kind of like, it's like a little kind of deep growl when you're revving up, and that's all the airbox and induction, and it just sounds fantastic. But the power, it's really, really nice. But we'll talk about that more out in the road as well. But yeah, it's just on paper you would think, with the weight of this bike and the numbers that are there, you might think it doesn't move, but this thing moves. It's a heavy bike, but it moves. Like, I think that's faster than the CBF. All joking aside, CBF is 40 kilos lighter. I think that's faster than the CBF. Moving on to power. Oh my God, this thing is insane for the big bike. Oh, like, woohoo! You don't need any more than 3 gears for the road. This thing can move. Now it can also like not stop very good because it's so big. But well, no, it does stop good. But you wanna give yourself braking distance. Oh, like the front end gets light every time out of a corner in 2nd gear. You know, so like we come out of this one in 3rd and pull it. Oh, like just my God, there is way more power in this than in the Africa Twin. And just keep an eye on now how I'm handling this through the corners. Keep an eye on it for handling and suspension. But again, oh yes, it's that torque where I like to change gear just naturally, not on purpose, is every time I hit peak torque, it's around about where I'm changing gear. So around about the 6,000-7,000 mark. We'll just duck it in here up this hill now, pin it. Woohoo! I actually got the front wheel to come up there, got a little wiggle, got a bit of electronic assistance. How have Triumph done this? This thing handles so nice. The power on these roads, it comes alive when you keep it in the higher revs. Oh, I love bikes. And this one now, the only thing is, this bike, you obviously have a much smaller margin for error, or it feels like you have much smaller. Oh, someone on the road, we'll just pop out around the mirror. It feels like you have a much smaller margin for error than, for instance, the Africa Twin gives you, because this thing has so much more power and it's so much heavier. But like all of the gears, like 2nd and 3rd on this road, it's all I need. Oh yes, I know. Oh, big brakes. I know I talked about it already. Oh, I love this bike. Off the bike, but this thing, it is seriously powerful, and you could have a lot of fun on it. And like I said, I think this is faster than the CBF. I think it's faster than the CBF. So we're back here again to talk about the suspension, the braking and handling. First I want to talk about the brakes. The brakes are twin 4-piston Brembo calipers on the front, matched up to this upside down 48mm WP suspension, WP on the back as well. this is a really good combo. These brakes are exceptional, especially when I'm coming from just after doing a track day on my CBF, where the brakes were honestly the weakest point. But this system here, these Brembos, paired with this upside down 48mm suspension, is absolutely beautiful. Tubular steel trellis frame. Not only does it look delicious, it just handles really, really well. Obviously you have a single-sided swing arm. I haven't ridden with many single-sided swing arms, but it feels great out there with that absolutely gargantuan WP rear shock. Now all of this stuff is controlled, you can see there, it's actually controlled by the automatic suspension control, which I'll show you out in the road as well. You have some settings, you have like off-road, normal and sport for the stiffness of the suspension, and then it also automatically adjusts depending on your rider mode. But it's really, really good. The rear brake is, look, rear brakes are never anything to write home about. Just a single small little caliper in there. But I will say, I accidentally went up that road earlier looking for somewhere to pull in, and it gets really, really bad and dodgy up there. And the whole way back down a hill, I was just sitting on the back brake, kind of, you know, working my way down slowly, and it held this behemoth beautifully on the road. So really no complaints. But look, we'll talk about it again more out in the road. Obviously the front brakes and the rear brakes are all switchable ABS. You can turn them off, which again is really, really nice. Because oftentimes, like I said, in modern bikes you can't turn off ABS, which I really don't like. The foot control here for the rear is lovely, that huge big area to put your foot on, and obviously then as well your front brake here, which is very, very nice, and I can already feel that it's actually quite a nice linear brake as well. Good feel, it doesn't come on too quickly, really good feel. But those calipers are brilliant. And then the handling out in the road, honestly everything together, the handling is quite good, but we'll talk about that more. We're actually on the bike as well, but overall very nice. Braking and handling, so this is one thing that this bike you definitely need to be aware of. You see, it has, like we just finished power and torque, right? It has the power and torque to do this, but brakes, we'll brake hard now. Brakes, they're very, very good. They're very, very good, but it still doesn't brake fast, and that's something I feel you need to be really, really aware of. So I know if I was to throw this into sports suspension setting, I could definitely get it to stop faster, because I tested it earlier and the front does tighten up, so you know, you get less dive, which makes you, it just gives you the confidence to brake that little bit harder. But at the same time the brakes on this, it's just something you need to be aware of if you push one of these on, is this is not, it's not a sports bike. And it's important to remember that, because yes, the brakes are really, really good, they're bloody excellent, right? And yes, the handling is really, really good, but I think that can lower, the handling is so good, I think it can lower you into a false sense of security that you almost forget about how heavy this bike is. And like I said, this bike is heavy, so you know, it's just something to be aware of. Just for the brake test, by the way, that we're going to be doing up here, I do have the bike into sport suspension mode, just to give it that little bit of extra firmness, and the firmness is actually really nice. So first and foremost we'll do a brake test, and then we'll talk about who this bike is for. So we'll get up and brake hard brakes, and no ABS. I did not manage to get the ABS on, and I braked quick there. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. Alright, we're gonna have to go again. I'm gonna get the ABS on, it's gonna happen. I really hope there is ABS turned on in this bike, and it hasn't been secretly turned off. This is the way I came on the Africa Twin, and it is absolutely stunning. It's absolutely stunning. So we'll just, we'll wait till we're down this hill. I see a nice stretch of tarmac up ahead, and we'll do the brake test up there. Okay, so here we go. And then a small baby child bike runs out, and you hard on the brakes. Oh, I could feel the ass up in the air there, and it's still not coming on ABS. These brakes are class. Let's go again. And we're braking. Okay, still no ABS. These brakes are bloody incredible. These are exceptional brakes, people. These are, I mean, these. Oh my! I want them. I want these exact brakes, and I want to put them on my CBF. These are incredible. These are amazing. The brakes are as good as that view. There you go. Wow. Wow. I'm lost for words. They're so good. I don't know. I actually don't know what to say. They're amazing. So welcome back again for aesthetics, and first and foremost, dear God, I love how this bike looks from sitting on it, which I'll show you in a minute, but it is a really good looking bike, and I think you can see that a bigger rider, even like myself, I think I fit quite well on here. I think I look quite well on here, which is obviously nice, because there's lots of bikes that I really don't look good on and fit well on, but this one I think I do. So without talking about it too much, I recently posted about a Triumph Street Triple, and I said there's no angle which I don't think it's beautiful from. I don't think this is a beautiful bike. I think it's a good looking bike, as in it looks utilitarian, it looks what it's made for. Like everything from the headlight protector, you know, all the way back to these engine bars here. I really like the skid pan. The wheels are really, really pretty. They did a better job making their spoke wheels look prettier than the Africa Twin did. The tank is really quite nice. I really like these contours here again. Again, these contours make it quite nice, but they're also functional when you're out on the road. Your legs fit really nicely in here. Just the contours of the tank make it interesting, because if you hadn't done all of this work on the front end to make it look kind of, I don't know, whatever they were going for here, I don't think it would have been a very interesting bike, because the rear end is just meh. It's steel trellis. Obviously this one has the boxes on it, but there's nothing exceptional there. I will say, I think I mentioned this earlier, I really like that rear light. So well done Triumph in the most part. Like it's not, in my opinion, it's not a beautiful bike. I think it's good looking. I think they did a great job in it, but yeah, nothing that I'd be writing home about per se. The rider's position is really nice. I really like the screens. Everything is very legible on them, very clear. The bars, really comfy. It's just a nice place to be. Like, I'm just going to go back here and show you. So that's kind of your view, you know what I mean? And it's really, really, really nice. And this is what you're looking at. When you're riding the bike, this is what you're looking at. But I will say, you know, I really like this contrasting color here. So the engine, you'll notice the engine and this engine bit here, and then the frame. So these match, and then you have the contrast here, and then the engine bars match the engine as well. So it's just these contrasting colors make it interesting. And to be honest, again, like I said at the Africa Twin, if they hadn't added in that contrast, I don't think this would look very nice. I think it would look very, very boring without the contrast. And all they've done is a color. All it is a color, you know? It doesn't change how it looks. It's just a color. But it makes it. If they didn't have all these little, you know, this is a contrasting piece. This white is gorgeous. I really like this. You know, obviously this probably wasn't on purpose, but it contrasts the black. There's about 4-5 colors used here altogether, and it works really, really well. And without that, I don't think it would have looked nice. But props once again to Triumph. They did a great job with their contrasts and their finish. The big thing for me is their finish. Like this piece here, it feels nice. The engine feels nice. It's still hot. Engine bars feel nice. You know what I mean? It's a good quality finish, which makes a huge difference. Then down here, aesthetically, these are gorgeous. All of these rear sets are absolutely gorgeous. I won't go on about them, but they're gorgeous. Like I said, the single-sided swing arm earlier, I really like the single-sided swing arm. That is beautiful. As is, in fairness, this drive shaft is actually, it looks really, really nice. Small things like that make a bike for me, you know what I mean? Like, they could have just made this like every other manufacturer and not done a good job on the rear sets and stuff like that, but they didn't. It actually looks really, really, really good. So once again, this screen I think is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how much you can see because of the glare, but like here, that glare, by the way, it doesn't hit my eyes, it's just on the camera, just so you're aware. But like all of this, I think is really pretty. This is gorgeous. This centerpiece is gorgeous. I am a sucker for analog clocks, and I absolutely love this. I really, really, really love this. Now I know in later models, the fact that Triumph have put so much work and effort into TFT, I'd imagine they'll go away from this. But honestly, this display, it's a really nice thing to look at. So like, you know, like everything here is just pretty. And again, like I said before, Triumph are good at their little touches. This is really nice. I know it's a simple, like their logo is their name, but it's beautiful. Sometimes simplicity is best. And now you're back to my not so aesthetic face, but that is for me. I do think it's a good looking bike. Not beautiful, like I said. Try to get an angle where you can see us both. Not beautiful, but good looking. Utilitarian, but they've done a really good job making it a nice utilitarian. The contrasts make the bike. If there was just all one color, nah. But yeah, for me, like if I was to rate it, maybe 8 out of 10 aesthetics, it is nice. It is nice, just not beautiful. The extras, so you don't have up and down quick shifters, like I said earlier. You do have engine protection, you do have the belly pan, you do have ABS, you do have cruise control, you do have these on this model, obviously the one that Freeman are selling, and I can fit, so all of this stuff over here, this all fits into that top box. Everything packs into that backpack and it all fits in here, so really good. I'm not gonna lie, really, really good. Other extras, obviously you have your switchable ride modes, which I'll show you. So over here, you can see your switchable ride modes now in a second when I press the, down here, the little M button. So this M button here, and we can go through road, off-road, rain. Okay, so those are your modes. Road, we're gonna stick with road, obviously. And then what also you can do is you go down here, and this is your suspension. You can click into your suspension, normal, comfort, and sport. And it isn't just one adjustment. Like you see, you could have lots of little gradations there. I actually quite like it in normal. That's kind of it. Shaft drive, obviously this being an adventure bike, shaft drive is kind of an extra if you compare this to the Africa Twin or something like that. Because you know, you'd pretty much never have to service that. You have to look after it, but not service it per se, not like a chain. And obviously, yeah, this one also has the Arrow exhaust, which does sound really nice. It's not too loud, but it's also not very quiet. And this one also has the light protection. So yeah, I mean, overall, lots and lots of extras. I'll put the cost on the screen here somewhere now, because I forgot to ask before I took out the bike, which is probably a good thing. I probably don't want to know how much this is because it frightened me. Doesn't have the up-down quick shifter. Don't think you need it. You have everything else that comes with these modern bikes. You know, you have your switchable riding modes, you have your cruise control, you have your ride-by-wire, you have your ABS, you know, your adjustable suspension, like the full adjustable suspension from remote, which is a nice one, I will admit. You don't have to go playing around with C-spanners or anything else. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Extras. So the extras, like I already talked to you about off the bike, you have all your modes. Now to change your modes, which I'm going to try to do on this really bumpy road, you press this M button down here and it just cycles through. So we're going to go to rain mode, and now it's in rain mode, and then you can press down and back to road, rain, rain. Oh, it doesn't let me into off-road. I obviously have to stop to go into off-road, and then you press the little toggle up there and that confirms the mode. So we're staying in road. And then, you know, if you want to change your suspension, like I said earlier, press down on this button, press the toggle at the back, and you can go into comfort mode. I want to go comfort mode. Yeah, you can tell the difference. And then one I really like is when you go up the very top and press the toggle, you can adjust your screen on the fly. Look at that. I don't know why I like that so much, but it impresses me so much. And then we'll just move it all the way back down. Those are kind of your extras. You also do have cruise control, which I'm not going to turn on because I don't need cruise control here, but it's quite easy. You can go on there. It's on already, I think, and then you can just set it with the buttons over here. So it's actually very easy set, very easy to reach it. Again, like the layout on this, and it's something that I said about the street triple as well, is Triumph have just kind of nailed you know, the ergonomics of the handlebars and all that jazz. They've done a really excellent job. I think Triumph just know how to build bikes, really good bikes now. You know, some manufacturers still kind of have a pig in their lineup. They kind of have the ugly duckling or whatever else, but so far for me, there isn't one in Triumph that I have spotted. I really like all of their bikes, and there's probably a Triumph in my future.
who's this bike for? And I know this is becoming a silly question, because obviously me, for one, of course, me. You know, I think this is another one of those kind of everyone bikes. I think anyone who has a bit of experience on a bike and is comfortable kind of handling a bigger bike off-road, you know, this is perfect for them, because it's so comfortable out in the road. It's honestly, it's brilliant. Like, if you want to do touring, this is a bike I'd pick. I've always said I probably don't want a GS, but I haven't ever ridden a GS, a newer GS I should say. I've ridden an older one. I lie. Maybe I would change my mind. It's more just the fact that I like a sportier sounding engine, and the GS does have a lovely tone to it, but something like this bike sounds incredible with that Arrow exhaust system. So maybe, look, if you're like me and you want a kind of a one bike does all, like, this bike could tour. I could happily go for a short spin on this bike and have a bit of fun. Maybe if you like smaller, tighter, narrower, twisty roads, maybe this would not be the one for you. It is very heavy, so if you're of shorter stature, this might be difficult off-road. Once you're off the road, say, to get on and off of and maneuver about. It is a very big bike. I want to stress that. I don't want people walking into something and thinking, oh, hey, this is nice and light. This is a big, heavy bike. I love the riding position. The riding position is unbelievable. You have a load of real estate to move your feet around on. It's just super comfortable. When you're cruising, the power delivery is unbelievably nice. Just have it in sixth and tipping along at 3,000 revs. It's super comfortable. It's a lovely bike. I know these are new, it's expensive new. I forgot to look up before I came here, but they would have been on the screen earlier. I put them up on the screen again now. They are not a cheap bike, brand new, but they're pretty available. There's lots of parts for them. They're well tested at this point. They've been on the market for quite a while, as you know, in a couple of different iterations. I could see myself crossing the world on one of these. The Africa Twin, I could see myself crossing Ireland on it. The Africa Twin is something that I would probably pick if I was completely just saying, right, this is my Irish bike, this is what I'm going to use, I'm staying here all the time, that's my bike, is the Twin. But for, you know, something that I would go around the globe on, this one, I would pick this one. This one definitely is a more comfortable long distance seat. It cradles the buttocks more than the Twin does. That is for sure. And it's really controlled, even with the shaft drive, you know, coming onto the throttle there nice and soft. It's very, very controlled, and it's just the way you can brake into corners, come out of the corners, you know, nice and light. It's just unreal. It's so nice.
What else do I have to say about this bike? Look, just to round everything off, okay, so comfort, 10 out of 10, to be honest. It's super comfortable. Just be careful maneuvering it when you're off the bike. Power and torque, 10 out of 10. The power is amazing for the size of this machine that it is. It's unreal. Braking, handling. Oh, doggy. Hello, doggy. That's a cute dog. The braking, like I said, is amazing. The handling is... it's so light. It feels so light out on the road, and it's huge. What else? The extras, it has everything you really want off one of these type of bikes. I don't think you need the quick shifter on one of these. I know some people like them, but it has a shaft drive, which is a big thing for touring. Definitely a more of a touring-y orientated bike for that reason than the Africa Twin. Cost, like I said, I know they're expensive brand new. I don't know how much this one is. I'll check when I get back and it'll be on the screen. It's just a really nice bike. It's a really, really nice bike, and yeah, you can get one at Freeman Motorcycles in Clonmel. Give them a shout if you want it, and if this one's already sold, I'm sure they'll find another one for you. I shouldn't have ridden this one, to be honest. There is a reason I sound sad, and the reason I sound sad is because I really want one of these now. It's so comfortable, and the back seat's huge. So for a pillion pegs are there. This thing is ready to go. This thing is just ready to go. I really, 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 really like it. Any negatives? I have to throw in a negative. The screen. The screen is a bit blowy, particularly if you're taller at the higher setting. It's way too blowy. Don't like it. Weight when you're on the ground. Like I said, it is a bike that I can see you having to be very careful with, and it's a good thing the engine bars and stuff are on it, because I can see someone dropping one of them quite easy, and then getting it back up might also be difficult. And any other negatives? Obviously, yeah, it's 2018. Some people are going to say, you know, this screen isn't up to date. No TFT or whatever else. Personally, I love this bit of analog in the middle. You know, some people might not like the kind of digital screen on it. Other than that, any other negatives? Sometimes the shaft drive will kick a little bit out of corners and stuff, but I mean, that's just shaft drive bikes. In my experience of shaft drive bikes, I own a shaft drive bike which is from the 80s, and it's incomparable to this one. This one does not kick in comparison to that, but just so you're aware, it does feel different to a chain if you've never ridden a shaft drive bike before. Anything else? I don't think so. I think that's kind of it, you know. I think this bike it's a brilliant bike. So if you have watched, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button and the subscribe buttons if you're new here. It does help the channel to grow. It helps me through more videos like this. It helps me to buy more cameras, etc. If you are new here, please don't forget to check out all the rest of my videos. I have over 200 videos out there, all motorcycle related content. Give them a look. If you want this bike, get on to Freeman Motorcycles in Clonmel. I'll leave a link in the description. And if this one's already gone, give them a shout. I'm sure they'll find you another one, or something similar anyway. And yeah, until next time, a massive thank you as always to my patrons. Just look at how pretty this whole area is. I really like it here. Massive thank you to my patrons. Without you, honestly, I don't know why the channel still exists. So it's importante. Muchas gracias para todos, my patrons. I really appreciate y'all. I know I say it all the time, but I do genuinely. And yes, until next time, thank you again. Adios. Outro crew. Would you have this or the Africa Twin? For me, genuinely, I don't know. I don't know what I have, this or the Africa Twin. I think, like I said earlier, if I was staying in Ireland, mostly Ireland, Africa Twin, just because it's light, it's easy to handle. If I was going cross country, that I would really like that bike, to be honest. If I was to trade the CBF tomorrow, would it be this or the Africa Twin? I don't know. That's a tough bloody decision. I really like both of them. This one might take the cake just because of the power of it. The power is kind of addictive off it as well, but you know, then the Africa Twin does handle that little bit lighter, so it's a toss-up. I don't know. Which one would you take anyway, outro crew? Let me know. Bye.